Hey there. Happy, what is this? Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hope we're doing well. Um, just wanted to kind of check in with you guys and see how we're doing. How's your autoimmunity doing? I have a lot of people that are popping in with some autoimmune markers, autoimmunity. They have all sorts of things: Hashimoto's, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis. And one thing that's happening is that everybody seems to be super inflamed. So joints are inflamed, feeling tired, lots and lots of rashes. I'm seeing lots of fevers, people just not feeling great. And I'm not quite sure how you guys are doing with your diagnosis, right? Like, are you getting diagnosed with what you have, or are you not quite sure? So, I mean, I have a lot of people that are coming in with a lot of inflammation. So we're working a lot on what we can do with inflammation when you have autoimmunity. Like, do you have joint pain? What's working for you? What's not working? There's a lot of strategies for getting your inflammation to come down. So we want to think of a lot of things. When it comes to autoimmunity, I feel like there's a giant web and you're entering from some part of the web. Like maybe you had COVID or the flu or Epstein-Barr, or you had a really stressful event happen in your life and you didn't get a lot of sleep and your cortisol was super high, or you have this that runs in your family and you kind of expected maybe this was coming. You might have food triggers. You might have celiac. You might have bloating. You might have gotten food poisoning. Lots and lots of things can happen that trigger autoimmunity to start. Leaky gut is a big one. You wind up having some sort of weird gut thing happening, and then all of a sudden you have autoimmune markers. So lots of different reasons why autoimmunity can start, but we have to kind of understand where you are in this process and understand like what is happening right now. And a lot of people will come in with markers that are low-ish and they have some symptoms, but it's early evolving autoimmunity, right? It's early times. There's not joint tissue destruction. It might be difficult to diagnose. So there's sometimes you guys are coming to me saying, I have a positive ANA. I have joint pain, I'm exhausted, but my rheumatologist says I'm not bad enough to treat. So I'm really frustrated about that. I don't know if you guys are experiencing that at all, but it's becoming quite a big problem where people are just feeling like they're not getting heard, they're not getting seen, they're frustrated about it, and they don't know what to do about it. So it sounds like, you guys all have lab markers, but then we need to kind of lay over the symptoms over on the top of it and see what's really happening, right? Ruthie Elizabeth says, my thyroid globulin antibodies is at 2. My functional doctor has me doing a thyroid ultrasound next week. Any thoughts? That's usually not positive. I'm trying to remember what the Quest lab range is. I think it's maybe under 9 is negative. Now they might be being really careful. I don't know if your thyroid's not working functionally very well, or if they feel like you have hypothyroidism, or if you feel like maybe you have a nodule and they want to take a look at that to see if there's anything happening there. I wouldn't even call that Hashimoto's at that point, at that level. So just things to think about. So different things that everybody's dealing with. So Hashimoto's is a big one, right? Okay, Ruth Elizabeth says, okay, the ANA was positive as well. Do you remember what the pattern was or the number was? Because it'll say ANA positive, and then it'll say a number like 1 in 80 or 1 in 160 or 1 in 320. It'll go all the way into the thousands, which gives us a little bit of an idea of like how high that's coming, like how much activity is happening with that autoimmunity, right? And then there's a pattern. Now the pattern can give us a clue if it's homogeneous or if it's speckled or it's centromere, or all sorts of different patterns mean different things. So it means that it could go towards something, right? So that's something that we want to know. What else is going on? It looks like we have a few questions. Okay, let's see. Okay, 1 in 80 nuclear speckled. Okay, so nuclear speckled it's not quite deciding what it's doing yet, right? Like this could be early evolving autoimmunity that you have, anytime I say a 1 in 40 or a 1 in 80, it's like, okay, so what's happening next, right? So we want to think about, like, if that's nuclear speckled, I want you to always watch, maybe run like an ANA cascade. A cascade is going to tell you like all the different tissues that are involved so that you can see, is there a Sjogren's marker there where you might have a dry mouth, dry eyes, and then joint soreness? Or if you moved into homogeneous, I start thinking about, I want to make sure that you don't have lupus, or I want you to run some lupus markers and rule that in or out, right? Now, lupus panel is called an ENA panel, and or you can do an ANA cascade. You can also do an AVISE test, AVISE. They do a lot of specific tissue markers too, which is super helpful. So if that's helpful at all, I mean, I do want you guys to have as much information as you can, because if you have more information, then it's a little bit more, it can help you to kind of diagnose like what's heading toward you next, right? Apricot wants to know if psoriasis is autoimmune. It usually is. There's usually something autoimmune brewing under psoriasis. Okay, so you want to look at, I want you to look at celiac. I want you to look at an ANA marker, like maybe an ANA screen. You can look for Hashimoto's. You can look for rheumatoid arthritis, kind of depending on what your symptoms are. But you could have something called psoriatic arthritis, maybe if you have joint pain too. So there's so many different variations of autoimmunity. Sometimes it's hard to figure out like what exactly you have. But no matter what you have, I do want you to think about the big picture of like, okay, what's next? What kind of strategies can we use to help calm your immune system down, right? So do we have issues with gluten and dairy? Quite possibly. How's your protein levels going? Do you have food triggers you know about? Do you have bloating? Do you have foods that make your joints feel like they're inflamed, right? Do you have leaky gut? Have you ever been checked for that? Have you ever had H. pylori? I mean, almost everybody has been exposed to like the kissing disease, the Epstein-Barr, all of that. We always kind of had that when you were in our teenage years or in our 20s. So those are things that virus is very triggering for triggering autoimmunity, but so is COVID. Oh my gosh, COVID was such a bad trigger. Okay, what would be a good exam test for leaky gut? Okay, my favorite is actually through a company called Cyrex, Cyrex. And Cyrex does an array too. Now that array looks for occludin and zonulin. That's a little bit more simple leaky gut. It's like gastritis and maybe some easy to fix kind of leaky gut. But then there's a marker on there called LPS, lipopolysaccharides. That would indicate more of a severe leaky gut, like a real open leaky gut that's usually due to an overgrowth of a pathogen or a bad bacteria, like a gram-negative bacteria that could be in your gut lining. It could be E. coli, it could be Shiga, it could be C. diff. There's a lot of different bacteria that can be in there. And those guys will hold open the doors and keep the gut permeable. And they release something called LPS, which makes you have brain fog, might give you headaches, might give you joint pain, might make you feel anxious and depressed and just not good. So that's high LPS. So that's a more severe form of leaky gut. And that's why I like to do that blood test, because they look for occludin, zonulin. They also look for LPS. And those are two different markers that will indicate leaky gut. So that's a company called Cyrex. What's nice is that there's a company called Rupa that has made it really easy for us practitioners to be able to just put your name in a portal and send you a test kit, which is super lovely and easy for me to send out test kits. If you ever need a test like that, you can reach out to me and say, hey, I want to do that leaky gut test. I'm happy to send you a link. You can just pay for the test. It's a couple $100. And then they send you a test kit in the mail and they tell you how to get it all done. So, okay, Sarah wants to know, what food do you recommend increasing for Hashimoto's? Protein for sure. I need you to do some, lots of vegetables and proteins and fats. Those are great. Now, the foods I feel like are triggery are going to be gluten and dairy, can be very triggery. I feel like nightshades can sometimes be triggery. And then sometimes it's eggs can be triggery. I mean, the top 5 are gluten, dairy, corn, soy, and eggs. Those can be triggery, right? And sometimes it's nightshades. Sometimes I'll have patients just go on an autoimmune paleo diet for just a couple weeks. And then start reintroducing foods, put nightshades back in, see how it makes you feel, right? And oftentimes that's a free test you can do, elimination provocation diet, really successful. We can figure out what food triggers you have. Okay, so that would be helpful. Emily, I'm in Los Gatos, California. I do coach people across the country. I also have an autoimmune shift program. If you guys want to watch videos, understand how to do autoimmunity, and join an autoimmune support group, I have an autoimmune support group. So there's a link in my bio. And I've got about 5 or 6 people in there right now. I have a group that's full, but then I've got this group that has just a few people, and we meet every week. And we talk about what's going on with people. We strategize how to get their symptoms to calm down. We do supplement links. You can get a discount on supplements. And it's just meeting with me on Zoom every week. So I'm setting up that group for Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific. So I'm hoping to capture everybody across the country, especially if you work, so that we can get you to help you figure out like what are your next best steps. So if you want a support group like that, let me know. I'm happy to help you. It's not expensive. It's be a fun time to have you guys in my group, and we can actually like brainstorm. How do you heal more advanced leaky gut? Okay, so this is usually controlled by a pathogen. Like this leaky gut is opening up the gut lining, right? So we need to kill the pathogen. So sometimes we'll do a little bit of work on like, what is it? If it's a constipating kind of problem, it's usually a methane type bacteria. If it's a diarrhea type problem, you've got like usually a hydrogen producing bacteria that we're going to kill. So we do a little killing each day, depending on what your symptoms are. And then we do an IgG product. I usually use Mega IgG that helps to kind of bind up and soak up the lipopolysaccharides. And then I also do a butyrate propionate acetate supplement. It's a short chain fatty acid supplement that helps to seal the gut lining. I do those 3 together. Depending, if you have a lot of pain, I might do a gut powder like glutamine, aloe vera, marshmallow root, slippery elm, maybe some zinc carnosine, something like that to kind of heal the gut lining if you feel like you have a lot of gastritis or you have a lot of pain or discomfort. So that's kind of my strategies. But when it's more advanced, we have to kill the pathogen. And as you kill the pathogen, those guys release the LPS, and it makes you feel kind of sick. So we got to make sure that you're not going to get sick while we're trying to do this. And it takes a long time to actually heal a leaky gut of someone who has bad pathogens. I mean, I might be working with them for a year to just seal the leaky gut, just to set up expectations, right? Simple leaky gut, we could probably seal that up in 30 to 60 days just with working with it, making sure that we've got it done. So anyway, lots to talk about there. Sonia says, I have a 1 in 3, it's probably 1 in 320, speckled and a positive ANA. Can't see rheumatologist till October. Okay, Sonia, I'd be interested in what your symptoms are. Do you have joint pain? Do you have fatigue? Do you have rashes? Do you have like what's happening? Are you exhausted? It'd be interesting to see, because oftentimes a speckled is like, it can't quite decide what it's going to do yet. Right. But then I'd like you to run like an ANA cascade to see, like, do you have other markers that are getting it's specific, right? Sometimes it starts general and then it can get really specific. So you might be dealing with some early autoimmunity. So it depends on what the rheumatologist sometimes will put you on medication. I do functional medicine strategies for my patients. And if they're on a biologic or a medication like hydroxychloroquine or something like that, or methotrexate, that's fine. That helps to calm their immune system down and get them out of the fire, get them out of the red zone. And then we braid in functional medicine strategies like vitamin D and glutathione and food triggers and leaky gut, sealing leaky gut, all the things. And then we allow your body to kind of get back to normal, right? That's our goal, is try to calm the immune system down. And so that's a bigger goal than, say, the rheumatologist is going to say, well, when you're bad enough, come to me, right? So if you get kind of blown off by the rheumatologist, that's okay. Maybe you're not bad enough. Maybe that's a good thing, right? But also it's a little bit frustrating, right? So it's hard. It's frustrating to feel like you're not bad enough, but you don't feel good. Hi, Topo. Hi from California. Can I email you here in TikTok? Yeah, you can always, also you can send me a DM in TikTok. But if you want to send me an email, if you want to like go to the link in my bio, and you can just click in there and it'll tell you if you want to join my autoimmune shift program. That's my program. It's an autoimmune support group. It's also work with me one-to-one, contact me, just pop in there or leave me a DM, leave me something in TikTok. don't comment on I never really get into the comments that much on my videos because there gets to be a lot of comments, but I do answer my DMs. So get in there. Okay. Let's see. Hi, I always feel like I drank a lot of carbonation and I have a lot of smells coming from my stomach. Okay. So lots of carbonation can really be a little bit hard on your digestive tract, and it can be actually really hard on your bladder. It's kind of interesting. I have a lot of people that have like interstitial cystitis, which is like there's an autoimmune response toward the lining of the bladder. And then carbonation can actually trigger that a little bit more. So, and it can make you need to get rid of all that gas that you're putting in. So sometimes bubbly waters are kind of hard. Sonia says horrible fatigue, joint pain, mostly feet, ankles, and knees. Okay. So Sonia, here's how I would approach this. Okay. You're going to go see a rheumatologist. Good. Great. See what they have to offer. Other things you want to think about. I mean, I have so many things to tell you. This is why I have an autoimmune support group, because I just can work with you guys in a small group and really help you figure this out. I want you to be on vitamin D, 5,000 IUs every single day. You can be on glutathione. So glutathione is a really strong antioxidant that can calm down joint pain. I'm going to dig into figuring out what's triggering your joint pain. Is it nightshades? Is it gluten? Is it dairy? Is it soy? Is it eggs? It's something. Something is driving your joint pain. I do have, so you want to figure out where to start with functional medicine too, because functional medicine is going to bring you over the finish line, whereas traditional medicine is going to keep you from the fire. Amazing. And you might need that help, and it might really help calm down your symptoms. But if it doesn't, let me help you figure that out, right? Because it's actually a little nuanced on like who needs what, which is why I have a whole training program through these videos and stuff that I've made, because I want to make sure I don't forget something. Plastics are big triggers for autoimmunity. Can you guys get off plastics? Plastic water bottles are big. It flares your immune system up, can really flare autoimmunity. I want you to get like the Yuka app on your phone and scan your products that you put in your hair and your sunscreen and your skin and all that kind of stuff. That's a big deal. Some of these are real triggers for autoimmunity. So lots and lots of things. Also, let's see. Last gastrointestinal doctor said I had metaplasia. Okay. So you might have some changes in the gut lining where it's not quite cancerous, but it's not quite normal. And so you want to think about soothing that gastric lining, but you also want to figure out what's triggering that. Now, when we think about the stomach and we think about like the lining not being quite right, we think about H. pylori. H. pylori is a bacteria that does live in your stomach that can cause gastritis and a lot of inflammation. It lowers your acid and also makes it so that it's hard to digest your food. So that's stuff that is interesting for you to know. You can also get some soothing going on with some aloe vera juice, some glutamine, things like that. Slippery elm, marshmallow root, that can be really, really helpful. Can you cure autoimmune conditions? Well, if I could, I would be getting the Nobel Prize for Science. So we can't cure it. There's no cure, but there is a volume knob next to that switch that we have control over. So we're trying to turn it down. Now, some of my patients go negative. It doesn't mean it's always and forever, but sometimes they'll go negative. And then if they go, let's say they go into menopause or they have an inflammatory event, they get COVID, something like that. Sometimes it can trigger those antibodies to flare back up, right? So sometimes that happens, not always. But it's something that I would love that for everybody, but it's not something we guarantee, but it's like, we can get the immune system to calm down usually. What do you do with chronic edema? Okay. So chronic edema, we want to think about blood sugar. How's your blood sugar? Sometimes when your blood sugar gets too high, your body literally puts fluid in your body to dilute the blood sugar. So that can be edema in your legs. You could have a little bit of congestive heart failure, which might be that just fluid is around your heart potentially. Sometimes that causes edema. Sometimes it can be hypothyroidism, right? The thyroid's running low. So then all of a sudden you get sort of this swelling in your ankles. So that's something that can happen too. So it's all depends on like what it's coming from. You want to check out your blood pressure. I'm sure your doctor can kind of try to get to the bottom of what that edema is about. I think that's probably the best place to start. Emily, yeah. Hey, Emily, pop on my bio and just click on Linktree and it'll pop you right into the autoimmune shift. It's super fun. I'd love to work with you and help you with your whatever you got going on, and just start calming down your immune system. There's 4 people in there right now, 5 people. I've one person on vacation. So I just talk to everybody every week and we just start figuring out what's up. We just solve all the things. So yeah, send me a DM or I'm happy to send you a link. So much fun. Yes, I do telemedicine. I have dermatomyositis. I caught it early. I take meds to control it. Okay. So we want to think about dermatomyositis is like it's like an itis. Anytime you have an itis, it means there's some inflammation. Myositis is more the muscles, right? Dermato is skin. So skin and muscle inflammation is what we're talking about when we break that down. So it's usually autoimmune. And yes, you have meds to control it. Great. But also, what happened? What's the root cause of this? Why did this start? That's the question, right? Do you have gluten and dairy triggers? Do you have leaky gut? Oftentimes when there's a skin thing, it's gluten, dairy, or leaky gut, seemingly. Sometimes we'll get like breakouts on the face, and that's a lot of like gut inflammation too. So when you see that can be like there's gut things happening. So thinking about getting you on enough vitamin D to just modulate your immune system. Your immune system is like, I'm going crazy. And you want to go, okay, how do we chill that out, right? We take the food triggers, try to remove the food triggers. We get you vitamin D, right? Glutathione. Those are really helpful for chilling things out. So we're trying to like pull the string on everybody and go, what is it for you? And as long as and then if I can get to know you enough, I can tell you exactly what it is. And we can actually start charting this. And you could really change your whole life by figuring out like what a food trigger is for you, right? Maybe you really react to tomatoes and potatoes and eggplant and tomatoes, peppers. Yeah, those guys, the nightshades, they can cause a lot of joint pain for people. But some people, it's not a problem, right? That's why there's no real recipe, right? We got to figure this out. What can you do for pernicious anemia? So pernicious anemia is when you can't absorb B12 in the little B12 receptors in the stomach. There's an autoimmune attack to the B12 receptors. So this is autoimmune as well, but it has to do with the stomach lining. So they name it for the target tissue, right? So this pernicious anemia is like there's no absorbing B12. So we want to think about getting on B12 shots. That's going to be really helpful. You might get away with doing like B12 lozenges or liquid B12 under the tongue. That can be really helpful. See if your body can absorb it if it's sublingual. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't, right? So B12 shots are going to be the most effective. And if your B12 is low, man, you can get weird nerve things. Your nerves can get really weird. You can get paresthesias. You can get numbness. You can get brain fog. I've even seen little kids have seizures. Little kids that are like on a vegan diet when they're tiny and they don't have enough B12, they can even have seizures and real nerve stuff. And then it's lack of brain development really for that brain. So B12 shots, but also that's autoimmune. All of these live under an autoimmune umbrella, right? So we want to get under there and go, okay, I don't care what you got. We got to still figure out your food triggers. We got to get you on vitamin D. I got to get you on glutathione. We've got to figure out, can we get you off plastics? What chemicals are bugging you? Can we get you sleeping? How are your hormones? Are your hormones crashing? I mean, as you get into perimenopause, oh my gosh, all of a sudden autoimmunity is like triggering, right? Maybe you just had a baby and all of a sudden you get an autoimmune flare. So these are all things that can drive autoimmunity. So we have to kind of like, this is why it's hard with autoimmunity. This is why a lot of people don't work with it because it's complicated, right? But we're just going to get in the weeds on it because I love that. It's great. Why not? I mean, you guys aren't getting much help. So I'm super happy to help you guys. Hold on a second. I just lost my place. Sorry. Okay. Is lorazepam good for chronic leaky gut? Lorazepam, I don't know what that is. Is that a peptide? It's probably a peptide. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't have any of my patients that are using that. I could look it up for you though and figure it out. Okay, Meow Mix. Meow Mix, what a great name. That's awesome. Low magnesium. Okay, we got to get you on some magnesium, lots of different magnesiums. Magnesium citrate, that was great. It's really well absorbed, but it also keeps the intestines moving. So sometimes people like magnesium citrate when you feel like you're constipated, or magnesium oxide. These are like things that keep your intestines moving. Magnesium glycinate is really good for your brain and good for your muscles to feel relaxed so you can fall asleep at night. Now, there's magnesium L-threonate, which crosses the blood-brain barrier and makes your brain feel really calm, which is awesome. So lots and lots of magnesium bisglycinate. There's so many magnesiums. Some people will do a little mixture of the different kinds, and we all tend to be low in magnesium. And then NAC. So NAC is N-acetylcysteine. NAC helps to make glutathione. Now, glutathione is an antioxidant in our body. And NAC actually helps. It's almost like a natural mucinex. It's a pretty cool supplement you can take when you have cough or you feel like there's a lot of goo in your lungs. You want to get it out. Maybe you don't want to take mucinex. NAC is really good with that. But NAC will make glutathione. So especially if my patients are sulfur sensitive, because glutathione is a sulfur-based supplement, you can take NAC and it'll help to make glutathione. So that's super helpful. Lindsay says, my ESR and CRP are normal. I'm in constant joint pain and GI pain. Oh man, that's terrible. Okay. SCL70. So these are autoimmune markers. So when you do, I'll tell everybody else. So when you have an ANA, right? And then if you do an ANA cascade, then you're doing all these different specific tissues. And there's like RO and there's SCL70. There's all sorts of different like markers for if you had, say, scleroderma, or if you had Sjogren's, or if you have any of those kind of things. Now, SCL70 tends to be going towards systemic sclerosis, which means that you can get like the your lungs and your heart and your tissue can get a little bit more like fibrous, sclerotic, things like that. So if your ESR and CRP are normal, but you're in constant GI and gut pain and joint pain, and your SCL70 positive, I want you to think about, how are we going to calm your immune system down? We have to get hopping and popping on this, my friend Lindsay. We got to hop and pop. We got to get this thing to calm down. So we got to get you on vitamin D. I got to get you on maybe turmeric, maybe black seed oil to calm down inflammation. We want to figure out how to get the immune system chill out right away. A couple of my patients with this particular marker have had some success with some microdoses of tirzepatide or GLP-1. That's been really interesting to lower like joint pain, like you have the pain in your joints, but it's not necessarily systemic in your bloodstream. So we want to get you on some glutathione. We want to make sure you don't have leaky gut. Like this is something that we have to kind of get on top of, Lindsay, because this is something I don't want it to go faster. I want to slow it down. Like we want to like bring it to a screeching halt and just let it just creep, right? Lots of strategies around this. So figuring out your food triggers, figuring out if you have leaky gut. Happy to kind of like make it happen for you if you feel like you want to dig. I love digging. So we got to dig on this thing. Yamek says low progesterone and high histamine. Yes. So high histamine, this is when you have hives, right? You get hives, you have blotchy skin. You know, this can come from COVID. It can come from having hypermobility, EDS, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, where people are super, super flexible. So that's something that can happen. Things we want to think about with high histamine. My favorite thing to take is going to be like quercetin. With a Q, quercetin, it's a bioflavonoid. It's kind of part of like the vitamin C and bioflavonoids. You can take luteolin, you can take rutin, you can take turmeric, but quercetin is my favorite. I would do 2,000 milligrams a day if you're having hives. That's going to be super helpful. As you get to perimenopause and menopause, you can have low progesterone. Okay. So the only way we get progesterone is by ovulating. So when you ovulate, you get progesterone. But what if you're 45, 50 and you're like, I don't ovulate every month? Then you're getting estrogen dominance and your progesterone's not keeping up. It's kind of down here. Now, progesterone makes you sleep and it makes you feel calm and it makes you feel chill. If you don't have enough progesterone, you can feel anxious. You can be having insomnia. You can just feel like you're going crazy. So oftentimes the first thing that doctors will give as far as hormone replacement will be a little bit of progesterone before you go to bed. That might be helpful for you. Holly. Okay. Yes, I need to make it. Yeah. Let's connect on with this. You're 29, Hashimoto's, hypothyroidism with low testosterone. Got it. Let's talk quickly about Hashimoto's specifically. I have a big place in my heart for Hashimoto's because there's so many specific things that happen with Hashimoto's. So so let's just do quick thyroid. Pituitary, okay, signals the thyroid with thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH, okay? Then your thyroid releases T4, and then the T4 converts into T3. So you're going to look at TSH, free T4, and the free T3. That's what you're going to look at. And then the thyroglobulin antibodies or the thyroid peroxidase antibodies could be high because that indicates Hashimoto's, right? Where the immune system's attacking the thyroid and breaking it down. Now, when your thyroid gets broken down, you have thyroid peroxidase, the TPO. It can attach to the back of your brain, the back of your cerebellum, and it can make you dizzy. It can make you have vertigo. It can make you feel anxious. You can feel like, oh my gosh, I'm out in a crowd and I feel like anxious. Or you're riding in a car and you're like, I've never been car sick before and now I feel car sick. That can be Hashimoto's. Now, also with Hashimoto's, when you release T4, your T4 controls your stomach acid level. Okay. So sometimes your stomach acid can get low because your T4 is too low. And then your T4 also controls the motility of your intestines and the movement. So you can get super constipated. And then you end up with overgrowth of bad bacteria in your gut because your intestines aren't moving. And then it's a whole thing, and that can cause leaky gut. So then you're spinning in this circle. So yeah, I'm happy to help you with Hashimoto's. I love untangling Hashimoto's and figuring out what your food triggers are and whatnot. Yeah, and low testosterone. I mean, we have to take a look at that and see what your levels are. But yeah, it's important to kind of get all this stuff normal. Yes. So have you ever worked with autoimmune progesterone dermatitis with MTHFR mutation? Well, it's interesting. I work with people with MTHFR all the time. I work with autoimmune everything, and dermatitis absolutely. I find that progesterone is an interesting thing to watch. Sometimes it's easy to capture when you do blood work. Sometimes it's not. So if you autoimmune progesterone dermatitis, I'm not sure exactly what that would mean, but I can break all that down and say, yeah, of course. But you might have something specific that's a little bit different. Please let me know, what else you've got around that. Let's see, what else? So many things. Okay, I have polymyositis overlap Sjogren's and Graves. Oh my goodness. You just got like the jackpot of all the things, didn't you? Okay, so polymyositis, lots of joint pain, muscle pain, overlap with Sjogren's, which is like dry mouth and dry eyes, and you can have some joint pain with that too. And Graves, which means it's hyperthyroidism. So it's an autoimmune attack to the thyroid. And the thyroid responds by releasing a ton of thyroid hormone and can make your heart race, and it can make you feel really anxious. And so usually that's a medication or surgical or radioactive iodine. They'll do something to calm that thyroid down, but you still have autoimmunity, right? You can see that you have autoimmune. And when you have one autoimmune condition, it's very easy to develop a second one. Okay. So that's something to kind of take a look at and go, wow, this is something that I have more than one thing. And that's common, right? Okay. Sorry. I've got one comment from YouTube. Hang on a second. It's not showing. Okay. Oh, it says, thank you much for that information. You are so welcome. I'm so glad you popped on. What else do we have? What else? Okay. What is Sjogren's? Okay. That is you have you have an autoimmune response toward the parotid glands or the saliva glands, and then you're not making a lot of saliva in your mouth, but you're also not making a lot of tears. So you are just really dry in your eyes and your mouth. It can kind of lead to cavities, and it can lead to your eyes being like kind of buggy and dry all the time and feeling really gritty. But also Sjogren's has to do with a lot of the things with the joints too. We're seeing a lot of issues with fatigue with Sjogren's and a lot of joint pain. So there's these real interesting overlaps. It makes it challenging to diagnose, actually. It's because a lot of people are dealing with a lot of different symptoms. So Finn wants to know, what is a functional medicine clinician? So there is a functional medicine clinician program that you can take. And I've done about 1,200 hours of that program. You get certified up to 300. You have an 100-hour course, 300-hour course. I've done all the way to the 1,200-hour course, and you can be some sort of clinician. You have to be able to order labs and be able to diagnose. So it has to be either a naturopath or a chiropractor or a DO or an MD. It's one of those. It has to be somebody. It doesn't have to be a prescriber, but it has to be someone who can diagnose. As I message above, I'm in the combo patch and it makes me fat. Okay, so let's talk about when you get into perimenopause. All of a sudden, you end up with, you're like pre-diabetic. Like all of a sudden, like your body becomes less sensitive to blood sugar and insulin, and you become insensitive. So you tend to gain weight all around the middle when we get into perimenopause, right? So all of a sudden, we have to really change the way we eat, because if you eat the same way you've always eaten, then all of a sudden you're spiking your blood sugar and you're going to gain a lot of weight. So Sometimes it's not the estrogen. Sometimes it's the fact that you become estrogen deficient and then you become like pre-diabetic. It's a very weird thing. I would say get yourself a continuous glucose monitor on the back of your arm and watch how your blood sugar is during the day after you eat meals or between meals or overnight. You might find that you're spiking really ridiculously high. Now, I'm 56. I wore a blood sugar monitor. My daughter, who's 26, wore a blood sugar monitor, and we ate the same thing. My blood sugar went up to 190. Her blood sugar went to 125. I'm like, oh my goodness, she just has the hormones that I don't have, and she has this younger body and it just doesn't spike. So people in perimenopause and menopause are going to gain more weight. They just will. So, okay, your OB said you were allergic to your cycle and ovulation, allergy to progesterone, long list of symptoms. Okay, so, you can become kind of intolerant to your body, Emily, which is an interesting thing. So when your immune system is taking a lot of time to decide what is self and what is not self. And so your body's having some confusion around what's yourself and what's not yourself. And it's going to attack you. So you can actually show reactions toward your own progesterone and toward your own hormones. It's very interesting. Now, this is called loss of tolerance. You've lost your tolerance for your own body, which is wild, right? So oftentimes the core of that, Emily, is a very severe leaky gut where the gut barrier is not sealed. So think about like you're in a house, and let's just think about like if you're having a party and one person's coming in at a time and they're all invited and life is good. This is like the way your gut should act. It invites things across into the bloodstream. No problem. Now that's a regular party, right? But what if you have a house party? And what if the windows and the doors are broken or open? Anything can come in. And it causes a lot of inflammation and it causes a lot of confusion as to who's friend and who's foe. So when your gut lining is kind of like that. When it's broken badly, it's like having a bad house party where, listen, the neighboring raccoons are in your house and bad guys are in your house and your friends are in there too. But there's almost so much chaos that you actually don't know who's who. And so it drives this sort of inability for you to decide, your immune system to decide this is friend and this is foe. And so all of a sudden you attack yourself and you attack your own progesterone and things get a little wacky. So I would just back that up, Emily, and I would say, we got to do a gut test first. I got to see if you have bad leaky gut. If you do, then we have to work on that. And we can't really do anything else until we fix that. Because once that we seal the gut up, then your immune system can calm down. And then we can figure out what your actual food triggers are. And then your immune system stops attacking you. Okay. So that's where I would manage that. That's a tricky one. I'm glad you popped on. These are such great questions. Such great questions. Okay. Next question. Let's see. My D is low. My D-in-law had these symptoms. Doc said, trying to go gluten-free. What do you think? Yeah. So gluten is interesting. Let me just talk quickly about gluten and casein. So gluten is one of the proteins of wheat, and then casein is the protein of dairy. Gluten and casein look weirdly similar to the tissues of our body, which is so weird. Isn't that weird? So if your body is already trying to figure out who friend and foe is, and they're like, I don't know, I can't quite decide if this is my body or if this is a foreign attacking thing, then if you eat gluten and dairy, oftentimes it will trigger your immune system to go, oh my God, okay, I think these proteins look a lot like my tissue. So I think I'm going to attack my tissue and attack these proteins too. So oftentimes if I can get people off of gluten and dairy for a minute and see how they feel, we might find that that's a big trigger for you. Yeah, it's a big deal. So is there a blanket test you offer for new patients who are not diagnosed with anything yet? Yes. So here's what's cool. So we can do a test through Rupa. Rupa is just a lab ordering company portal, right? And if you felt like, hey, I want to do a bunch of autoimmune markers, amazing. I can send you a link to do all the labs you've ever done, like lipid panel, CBC, comprehensive metabolic analysis, inflammation, vitamin D, iron, all the things, all the basics, right? Plus autoimmune markers for like $200. It's not expensive, which is wild because if you do it through your insurance, it's really expensive, right? So there's some really inexpensive ways to do a bunch of testing because I like to kind of go, what's the big picture looking like here? Like, do you have inflammation? Do you have prediabetes? Do you have an inability to absorb vitamin D because you don't have a gallbladder? Like, what's the story here, right? And then look at the autoimmune markers, because it'll all tend to run markers for Hashimoto's, an ANA screen, maybe a rheumatoid arthritis screen if you feel like you have joint pain. And that's easy to do, right? It's not very expensive. So, and I'm happy to send you a link for something like that. So, yeah. Skin-only dermatomyositis. So we've got dermatomyositis that can be you can just get skin symptoms. You can get some psoriasis. You can get some eczema. You can get some sort of like issues that just look like, we can even get rashes. So these are all under the umbrella of autoimmunity, where your immune system is attacking that area. Okay. So it's kind of like there's millions. I swear, I don't even know how many autoimmune diseases there are. There's so many of them. It depends on how many tissues are in your body. They can name it for something else, right? There's a lot of specialized ones. It sort of doesn't matter which one you have. It means that you have autoimmunity, right? It means your immune system is going like this and is like attacking you, right? Somewhere. So what are we going to do about that? We take a big picture look. We look at food triggers. How stable is your blood sugar? If you have prediabetes, you're driving this thing. You're driving inflammation. That's a problem. If you are exposed to plastics all the time, it can really drive that. If you are exposed to a lot of chemicals, it can drive it. If you're not sleeping, it can drive it. I mean, you name it, it can drive it. And it can drive it toward any particular tissue. So you could name some random, weird, bizarre autoimmune condition. And I'm like, whatever, it's autoimmunity. Yeah, let's calm your immune system down, right? Do you have leaky gut? What's the food triggers? So I think we don't want to get too deep in the weeds on, it's this specific special thing. It could be whatever it is, but it's still your immune system is attacking you, right? So that's really the bottom line. Does O negative blood affect autoimmune disease? I don't think so. Now, there's certain people who are more, they get more autoimmune diseases. And I don't know if O negative is better or worse. I'm not really sure. Now, better question is, do you have any autoimmunity that runs in your family? And this is 80% of autoimmune people are women. So let's look at your mom, let's look at your grandma, let's look at your cousins, let's look at your sisters, any kind of aunts. Did anybody have fingers that were a little bit funky that went a different wrong way? Did anybody talk about having lupus? Did anybody have like a bad thyroid issue where they had to take thyroid medication? 95% of hypothyroid is Hashimoto's. So it's an outlier if you don't have Hashimoto's. Okay. So that's probably, if they had low thyroid, they probably had Hashimoto's. And oftentimes when you think about grandparents, they didn't test, right? We don't know. So it's just a guess. But more often than not, it's coming from the female side. Dazzling Katie says, my insulin drops, I feel sick. Yes. This is a big trigger. And I think we don't realize how much our blood sugar goes like this. Okay. If you could get a blood sugar monitor, which everybody in my program gets a blood sugar monitor because I want to know, and I want you to know, right? So everybody goes through this journey of the blood sugar monitor, and you watch your blood sugar and see how steady it is. And if it's spiking and crashing, we got to figure out that meal. We have to figure out how to like keep you steady, right? I mean, here's the thing, the way I really like people to eat, that when you're eating a meal, say you're eating some chicken and some vegetables and I don't know, some rice. So you want to think about eating the veggies first. You want to put them they sit in the bottom of your stomach. Okay. That's the first layer. It's like we're making a bean dip or something. Put the veggies in first. And then you put protein in, chicken, turkey, beef, whatever. And then you're going to put some fats in. You put some avocado, you're going to put some butter, your olive oil, whatever. And, olives are great. And then if you're going to eat carbs, I want you to eat them last, because then you sprinkle them on the top. And now those carbs are going to break down slowly at the pace of the veggies at the very bottom. It's going to slow the release of the blood sugar, and then you're going to be steadier for hours, right? Now, let's say you do this in reverse and you eat the carbs first. You just eat a bowl of pasta with no protein or veggies. Then your blood sugar is going to spike high. And then about an hour and a half, 2 hours later, you're going to start dropping low. And then you're going to get food cravings way low. And you're going to crave sugar. And you're going to eat more carbs and you're going to spike. And you're going to crash. And at the end of this day, you're like, I just feel freaking exhausted. I'm so tired. Versus something where you keep your blood sugar rolling in the day. Okay. It is a huge trigger, especially in America. We all have blood sugar up and downs, right? This is the first whole module of my course in my autoimmune shift program is blood sugar. It's blood sugar first, then it's food triggers, right? then we want to figure out how to combine those together. How do we eat? Like, how do we eat and not trigger autoimmunity? There's a lot of science to that. There's a lot of white papers on that. I mean, and I'm just presenting it all to you, and you choose what makes sense for you, because not everything is everybody, right? Not everybody has a blood sugar issue, but almost everybody has some sort of food triggers. They're not always the same. Okay. Okay. T dot says my ANA is 1280, 1 in 1280. TPO is 468, and I also tested positive for moderate levels of histone antibodies. You got a full meal deal too here. Okay, we got a lot of autoimmunity happening here. So here's where we start on that. You have Hashimoto's. I don't know what your ANA pattern is, but you have histone antibodies too. So we want to think about, like, what are we doing? Like, what's triggering this? I wonder if anybody in your family has autoimmunity. I wonder if you're getting this from a grandparent or a mom or something like that. And if they had something in particular, it'd be interesting to take that. History is really important to kind of know what's happening there. But, Hashimoto's is definitely happening. So I'm wondering if you're on thyroid medication or not. Sometimes you can have Hashimoto's and your thyroid has not been destroyed yet, and you can not be on thyroid medication. That's fine. But if it starts getting hit and it starts to kind of break down your thyroid, then all of a sudden you need some thyroid medication, because you've got to have enough T4 and you've got to have T3. You've got to have both of those. So now when you have histone antibodies, so this is kind of an interesting one. So it's like, have you been checked for lupus yet? I wonder. So this is kind of it can be lupus. These patterns can shift too. I'll just tell you that. You could have a pattern and you're like, this is it. And then you're like, nope, it's something different. And it changes and it goes. Sometimes we start with early evolving autoimmunity, and then it starts to stick into something. Like, then you're like, oh, I have lupus, or I have rheumatoid arthritis, or I have Hashimoto's, or like T dot, who has a bunch of different things going on, and we just need to figure out, so what's going on. I mean, the histone is part of the DNA of the cell, right? It's part of like the replication of the cell. So it can kind of move into lupus. It can move into, some people can move into rheumatoid arthritis. It just depends on what you are moving towards. Sometimes it's Sjogren's. It could be systemic sclerosis. Sometimes it's primary biliary cholangitis, where it gets into your liver and your bile duct. So yeah, this is an interesting one. I'll be interested to hear if anybody else in your family has anything in particular. So many things to consider. These are complex conversations, Okay. None in your family. Okay. Got it. Okay. Sorry. I just kind of like, all of a sudden I catch up, and then it brings me to a crazy place. I don't know where I am. Okay. Then we have a senior with hypoglycemia. Okay. So hypoglycemia usually means that your blood sugar is just not steady. You're going along and you're dropping. You're going along and you're dropping. I want you to put more protein in your meals, more veggies in your meals with fat, like some avocado or some olives or some olive oil or something like that in there. And I would love for you to wear a blood sugar monitor to see if you're getting hyper before you get hypo, or if you're just getting hypo, right? Because sometimes you'll do a hyper first and then you'll crash into a hypo. Especially if you do too many carbs, you'll be like up and then you crash. So things to think about. So I want you to eat every few hours if you're hypoglycemic. I'm 52. My weight is from 132 to 141. Each month I eat twice a day. I retain fluid. I need HRT and progesterone. Okay. So yes. So when you get into perimenopause and menopause, all of a sudden you're pre-diabetic. You just are. Your blood sugar's unsteady, right? That's just the gift that we get when we lose our estrogen, is we get more insulin resistant, and we don't absorb the blood sugar as well. So we tend to gain a lot of weight. We'll tend to have a lot of retaining of fluid, right? So doing a little bit of hormone replacement can be helpful with stabilizing all this, and also getting on a blood sugar monitor and see what's happening with your blood sugar. Is there a blood test to see what stage of menopause you're in? This is the trickiest question of all, because here's what happens. You're cruising along, and then you don't ovulate, and then your hormones kind of drop a little bit. And then you get back and you just cruise along, and you're like, wait, what? And then it's like this weird up and down decline of the hormones. So sometimes you'll capture it, a screenshot. Like if you did labs, you'd be like, oh my gosh, my estrogen looks great. And then you check it in a couple months, and you're like, my estrogen is crashed. This is where it's like a sputtering to a stop. right? So sometimes it's hard to capture it. This is why a lot of doctors tend to look at your symptoms. They're saying if your estrogen is low, then it means you might have hot flashes, you might be really irritable, your brain fog, brain's not working, can't focus, can't think really well. You're low in progesterone, you tend to get anxious, you tend to not sleep well. Low into testosterone, it definitely affects your libido. It definitely affects your muscle density. So there's a lot of symptoms that go along with it. They tend to do that. Sometimes I'll test hormones for women, especially if they're on HRT, and I want to see how they're metabolizing their hormones, make sure their estrogen isn't climbing too much because it's consistent. But when you're kind of just sputtering to a stop, it's not consistent and it's hard to check. It's really hard. So yeah. How long do you stay off of gluten and dairy? So I would say stay off of gluten and dairy for a couple weeks and then really notice how you feel. Like be super clean, don't eat any of it. And then maybe you add some cheese in one day and you go, how do I feel? Do a little bit of cheese and see how, do some yogurt, see how it makes you feel. And if you feel like, oh, I don't feel good, I feel brain fog and I feel like my joints hurt, then that's an answer for us. Now, I'd say I've never found a patient who has autoimmunity who could do gluten. Not one. But dairy, gosh, I think it's probably, I'd say about 70% of people can't do dairy too. They're similar protein structures. They look very similar to each other. Yeah, I know you paid more than that for just a celiac panel. I know. If you guys feel like you want to get cash labs, like if you want to use your insurance because your insurance covers it, use it. Okay. I have to say though, I had a really great PPO health insurance health insurance when my husband was working for high tech. And I would run all my insurance through the insurance company. And my copay was about $200 because I would run about $2,500 in labs. Now, if I do cash, it's about $200. It's just so silly. So they really rack up the charge for the insurance charge. So if it's a $2,500 in labs for insurance, usually you take a zero off and it's $250 for you. That's how cash labs works. I just feel like cash labs is the way to go. Anyway. Okay. What else? Diagnosed Cushing's, remove my adrenal with an adenoma. What to watch now? Okay. Are you on a little bit of steroids a little bit each day? What did they give you? Because if you removed your adrenal glands, did you remove one? Maybe it was, yeah. I mean, this is the thing with adrenal glands is that if they stop working, that's really called Addison's. If they're working kind of overdrive, there's Cushing's and there's a lot of cortisol. So I'd be interested to see if they want to do a little, sometimes they'll do like a 2.5 milligrams of like a hydroxycortisone for adrenal function if you tend to run out. Right now you might have plenty. Okay, Star says, I have been diagnosed with subclinical hypothyroidism today, not Hashimoto's yet, but TPO. Okay, so TPO shows positive. Okay, I'm starting on levothyroxine, but interested in root cause. Me too. So a lot of times I'll see H. pylori in the stomach that can trigger Hashimoto's. Epstein-Barr can trigger Hashimoto's. I think COVID can, but COVID tended to trigger a lot of rheumatoid arthritis in my patients and a lot of positive ANAs. So that seemed to be its little niche. But, everybody's a little different. And I don't see millions of people. So I only have a sample size of, a few hundred that I'm seeing. So root cause is important to find out, Star. We really want to know like what's happening. And also, get on your level of thyroxine. And then we should run labs in a couple months and say, what's your T4 look like? What does the T3 look like? 25% of people pretty much don't convert T4 to T3 well. You have to do that in your liver and in your intestines. Sometimes people will get fatty liver. Their liver gets really congested or they just aren't, they're inflamed and they're not converting well. Sometimes selenium can help. Anytime that you have Hashimoto's, I want you to be on 200 micrograms of selenium every day. Okay, that helps the TPO to calm down and it helps the TPO to stay off the cerebellum in the back. So that's helpful. 5,000 IUs of vitamin D for sure. Okay. Yes. Oh, another Darla. Welcome. I don't see a lot of us around. Diagnosed with dysautonomia. Okay. So the autonomic nervous system is the parasympathetic nervous system. The nervous system does like fight or flight and calms down. Fight or flight, calm down. So dysautonomia is kind of like maybe you're stuck in fight or flight. Maybe you're not triggering to fight or flight. Maybe you can't calm down. There's a lot of that up and down, right? I've treated a few patients that have pure autonomic failure where they've come from Stanford with a diagnosis. We can do nothing with you. You have pure autonomic failure. And I'm like, okay, let's get you off of gluten and dairy. Let's get you on some glutathione. Let's check your leaky gut, see if you have a leaky gut. Let's figure out, like, get you off of plastics, get you off of toxins. Let's figure out, we got to build your microbiome. That's a big one. More vegetables, more variety of vegetables to grow your microbiome, to help. The microbiome creates a lot of this immune system modulation or calmness, right? So I would be very interested in taking a look at what's going on with your dysautonomia, but I would consider that it's not exactly autoimmune, but it can be. It just depends. The most success I've had is the people who've been flat out nothing, and they've been in hot, disastrous mess. Now, you might also have POTS, which is postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, where your heart races and your blood pressure goes really low, and then you can spike up a little high to and it just makes you feel like garbage. So that's something that I've been seeing from long COVID. I've been seeing COVID really drove that. So also a low positive ANA. Okay, so Darla, I would say this is probably autoimmune driving this. So we want to get to root cause on this. We want to go, why? We got to figure out some food triggers. We need to find out if you have leaky gut, because that can be a big driver in all of this. All three people that I've had pure autonomic failure, they all had really severe leaky gut. And so now I'm starting to expect it, right? Because I'm seeing sort of this, common occurrence. So these are things to think about. So this is why I've created an autoimmune shift program, because I literally, it's like $50 a month to be a part of it. If you want to join, it's not crazy. I'm trying to make it super inexpensive for everybody to join. You get 4 Zooms a week with me in a small group. We're just all talking to each other. You meet people, we figure out, what's working for everybody. There's a bunch of little videos that I've made, because what I find is that I forget to tell people stuff. Like, for example, I've been working with a patient for like a year. We're trying to get her autoimmunity to calm down. And we've been having some good success, but then she has these flare-ups. And I was like, what is it? She comes walking in with a plastic water bottle, just a plastic, Crystal Geyser water bottle. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? This is why. This is why you're having flare-ups. Oh my gosh, why did I not tell you about plastic? This is why I made this whole program, because I wanted to contain all the information in videos so that you go through those and listen to those, and then hop on the Zoom and go, oh my gosh, I think it's this. Ooh, let's run this leaky gut panel. Oh, let's run an advice panel. Then you're driving the show, because I've given you all the info. There's downloadables. There's links to supplements, and I give all of you a 20% discount on supplements so that you can get supplements for cheaper that are all professional grade. I just want to have more of a controlled environment so that you guys are being taken care of, because I feel like you guys spend a lot of money on a bunch of BS out there, and it's frustrating. So anyway, the thyroid test. If you want to do a thyroid test, how much is it? Let's see. If we did like TSH, free T4, free T3, thyroglobulin antibodies, and thyroid peroxidase antibodies, it's probably $40. It might be $50, but probably not. It's probably about $40. Yeah, you could always message me and say, I want to get this test done. All I need is your name and your email, and then I can just send you a link to go get it done. And you pay for it through Rupa, your $40 or whatever. You just take that to Quest, and then it's a prepaid lab. That's it. Okay, little skinny woman, liver failure. So we have probably autoimmune hepatitis. Is that what we're dealing with? So we have the immune system is attacking the liver. What's driving that? What started it? Are there some genetic pieces to this? Sometimes liver failure runs in families, autoimmune hepatitis. Sometimes it can be driven from other things, right? Like you're like, I'm the only one, right? So this could be, we got to look at foods. We got to look at viruses. I just wonder what kind of viral stuff is going on with you. Like, what would have to happen in a liver where the immune system's like, you're foreign, I'm going to attack you. What's in the liver? What would drive? Is there microplastics in there? Is there a lot of BPA, BPS, all these sort of BP things? This is a filter. It's a lot of chemicals that are, filtered through there. We just have to think about a lot of things. We want to think outside of the box and figure out what is it that's happening, right? So I'm happy to support you. If you want some support, come on over. I'm not afraid of any of y'all. Should we do a fasted insulin blood work to see what's going on? Yes. That's part of the panel that I run. That $200 panel is fasting insulin. You really want to know what's happening with insulin. You want to know what's happening with fasting blood sugar. hemoglobin A1C from the past 90 days. How's your blood sugar? Those are all markers. We're going to look at your lipid panels that have triglycerides. That's going to tell me if your blood sugar is spiking a little too much. So we want to know fasting insulin is a magical number. We want to know. Like if you say, oh, my blood sugar is great, and your fasting insulin is 20, you're spiking too much. And then we got to do a blood sugar monitor to figure out what it is. Does ANA always indicate autoimmune? Sometimes not. Little outliers. Here's a couple things. Now, we know that there are people that have a positive ANA, low marker, maybe a speckled pattern, 1 in 40, 1 in 80. They can have it forever. And it never goes anywhere. It never does anything. It's wild. Like, what's the difference between that and the person that's just driving hard and fast? That can happen. Now, you can have a drug-induced positive ANA. So if you can take some medications that can drive an ANA, that's kind of an artificial ANA that's not, doesn't really indicate autoimmune, just means that that drug is driving that. But if it's ANA positive, even if you don't have symptoms, I take that as seriously as a heart attack. I think I take that seriously because that's autoimmunity towards your own DNA in your body. It's how you replicate cells. It's how your cells function. It's how we clean up our body and restore our body. So ANA is one of the most serious ones that I take it very seriously. I'm like, we don't want to progress that. We don't want it to go forward, right? Okay, Sianaqua says, I have hyperthyroidism and I have so many weird symptoms every day. I wonder how you're managing that. Do you have somebody that's helping you manage the hyperthyroidism? Because that's Graves, and that can cause you to have really weird heart racing. It cause you to feel like you're panicked. This is something that we should look into, right? Whoa. Lost it. Hang on a second. Sorry, I just kind of lose my place. Okay, testosterone pellets. Great testosterone. Okay. Oh, did I skip you, Chloe? Tell me what I missed you. Sorry about that. So I kind of like lose people sometimes. It's like I kind of lose people. Okay. What else? 29-year-old female with acid reflux and joint pain. Okay, so acid reflux, we're thinking about, are there food triggers that are happening here? Are you not being able to digest gluten or dairy or soy? Do you have an issue with tomatoes? Does that cause, there's a certain thing that causes reflux? I would also check you for H. pylori to make sure that you don't have an H. pylori bacterial infection in your stomach, causing you to have some reflux, causing your acid to be low. Are you eating foods that you know, like, I know I probably don't digest this very well, I'm going to eat it anyway? I mean, sometimes that can happen, causes reflux. But also joint pain makes me think about, what if you got yourself off of gluten and dairy for a minute, maybe for a week, and see if it made your joint pain feel better? These are everything that you do that changes how you feel is diagnostic. So when you don't feel, if you feel like, oh, I ate that and I feel this, it's diagnostic. If you take vitamin D and it makes you feel a lot better, we have to make sure your vitamin D is in. If you take turmeric and it makes you feel better, then I'm thinking, are we driving down inflammation? Like, what's happening here? So that's something to kind of think about. Testosterone. So testosterone's an interesting one. I have some patients that do testosterone pellets and hormone pellets. I don't do the pellets personally because I feel like, personal with my own body, because I feel like it brings the hormones really high and then it can drop it down. I really like this sort of like the estrogen patch, oral progesterone, testosterone cream. It kind of keeps you steady during the day and it doesn't let your levels fluctuate too much. Just my own opinion and what I see with my patients. So it makes them feel, some of my patients love their pellets. I mean, listen, you can't take them away from them. And I'm like, that's fine. It makes you feel okay. That's fine. Okay. So Jesse says 28 female, TSH 3.3, T4 1.1, T3 3.2, TPO is 386. Okay. So your thyroid is working fine. Your thyroid numbers look normal, but you have TPO that's high, and that makes you feel anxious and having panic. Do you also feel dizzy? Because you can feel dizzy too. So that's something that's happening. So you have Hashimoto's. We need to work on getting your autoimmunity to calm down. We have to work on, sorry, they make me do these puzzles when I'm in an hour visit. They make me do that. Anyway, so we want to think about, I would get on some selenium. That's going to help lower your TPO. Your thyroid numbers look okay. So I don't think definitely don't need to be on any thyroid hormones, but I would also get on 5,000 IUs of vitamin D, and I would get off of gluten and dairy. With those, I would see how you feel, right? And if you feel like you want some support, come over, learn all these things, understand the things, come with a support group. I can help you figure this out, or I can run your labs. Or I can look at your labs if you want. I do a lot with Hashimoto's. I've been having some very good success with Hashimoto's. So Hashimoto's is pretty easy to get to calm down, right? I mean, it's going to be there. You're going to have Hashimoto's, but we got to bring it down a little bit, right? So, do you look over labs and help determine how to move forward? Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially everybody's different, right? Everybody has like different things going on. You might have a difficult time with your iron. You might have a difficult time with your inflammation. You might have, there's a lot of things happening. So we want to normalize your labs and make them all optimal. That's actually the goal. So then we can get your body to be functioning better. Okay. Lynn says, no steroids after that surgery. I feel like no one's paying attention. Okay. Yeah. So you might need, I don't know where you live, but you might want to connect up with like a naturopath or a nurse practitioner or a PA and talk to them about, I find out here, naturopaths are great because they can prescribe steroids, they can prescribe hormones and such. You might get somebody like that to eventually prescribe you some basic level of of steroids, possibly. So that's something to look at. My mom has limited scleroderma. Any general best practices for her condition? Yeah, same. So she should figure out what her food triggers are. Probably gluten, could be dairy, corn, soy, egg. You can do a blood test and really see what reactions are coming up that are IgG and IgA. That can be helpful. You can just do an elimination diet and really see. She should get on vitamin D. Make sure her vitamin D is 70, 80, or 90, is up in a higher range, not at 30, 40, or 50. Okay, that's going to be helpful. She could be on some fish oils for inflammation. That's when I kind of when I just look at labs, and we just want to normalize the labs, right? Just fix what we find, right? Someone recently found out that I have a rare genetic disorder that makes my muscles really dense. Interesting. Okay. So I wonder I don't know much about how to negotiate that. I wonder if you could do some anti-inflammatories. I wonder if you could do some fish oils. There's a really interesting fish oil that's called SPM. It's specific. Am I going to forget about it? What's the name of it? Pro-resolving mediators. That's what it's called. Specific pro-resolving mediators. And it helps to resolve inflammation. So if you have inflammation along with this, you might want to get on some fish oils that are called SPM, like Sam, Penguin, Monster, SPM. That would be something that might be interesting for you, that might be helpful. Laura says, I just received a positive ANA 1 in 320, speckled and homogeneous blood patterns. Okay. So speckled and homogeneous, that could be a lot of different things. It could go toward Sjogren's, it could go toward lupus, it can go toward mixed connective tissue syndromes, right? Sometimes it's in your joints, sometimes you're getting rashes, sometimes you're getting fatigue. So we want to take a big picture on like, how do we make sure that this doesn't keep marching forward, right? So I have a lot to teach you. How do we eat? How do we heal leaky gut? How do we do all this stuff? And so this would be nice to kind of get you on some vitamin D, nice to get you off of your food triggers, get you figuring out like what's going on in your blood work. How's your blood sugar? Is it popping up and down? Get off of plastics for sure. That can be really triggery. So get yourself like a little reverse osmosis water system, maybe on the top of your countertop or maybe under your sink would be a really good thing to kind of clear out, like get yourself on some clean water and get off the plastics. That's really helpful. So lots of things to talk about, Laura, with you. If you want some support, just click into the link in my bio, the Autoimmune Shift. I'm happy to support you. We meet 4 times a month and we're going through different modules and we're talking about different topics, and there's a topic a week and we just figure out what's happening with everyone's autoimmunity. And you learn so much. I want you to be like, I want you to know all the things I know, because you can. It's all out here. I just sorted it for you, giving it to you a little package. So it's easy for you to understand it because it's a lot. Would it be okay to eat sourdough bread made with fresh milled grains? Okay. It depends. It depends if you are reacting to gluten. Now, There's a test called by Cyrex. Cyrex Labs has a test that actually tests specifically for sourdough, Italian flours, European flours. It tests for all the different types of gluten and wheat, wheat germ, all the different parts. So it kind of depends. It depends on how, I would say get off of it and then get back on it and see if it makes you feel different, right? That's a great way to check it out. Oh, good, Laura, you're seeing a rheumatologist tomorrow. Great. Yeah, I would love to hear what they're saying. And also, listen, I'm not a prescriber. You can get the prescriptions if you need a prescription, get that from your rheumatologist. But also, let's braid in some functional medicine strategies in all of this so that we can make that more successful, right? Because we know for sure that food triggers and vitamin D and black seed oil is sometimes helpful, glutathione is helpful. We know all these things. We just have to know how to put it together for you. Can EBV cause autoimmune, and how can I tell if celiac versus diagnosis without eating gluten again? Okay, that's a really good question. So yes, EBV can trigger autoimmunity. Absolutely. Stanford figured out that people with lupus have a really high EBV antibody titer, and that could be part of the trigger of why they actually have lupus. So it's kind of a big deal. So here's what I would do with celiac diagnosis. I would run the two different genetic markers, HLA-DQ2 and HLA-DQ8, to see if you have those two genetic markers. If you do not, then you can't have celiac. It's not a thing for you. You have to have one or both of those genetic markers. So it's HLA-DQ2 and HLA-DQ8. So that's something you could run. Crohn's, they're going to need to look for like a scope on you. They're going to need to take a look at the integrity of your intestines. I definitely don't want you to eat gluten again either. Here's the thing. What's the goal? We need to figure out the goal. If the goal is to get diagnosed to celiac versus Crohn's, and it's only through eating gluten again, I would pass. I would say, hey, I can't eat gluten anyway. Who cares? How about you do a scope and see if you have Crohn's or ulcerative colitis or something like that, and see if we can figure out another way besides doing those tests. But do the genetic marker to see if you have the genetics for celiac or not. Because if you don't, so then you kind of go, okay, then it's gluten intolerance, which can be just as miserable. It's just not an autoimmune disease toward your gut lining. Okay, 29-year-old female with history of acid reflux, stomach pain, and joint pain. How do you approach that? Well, I'd probably check you for H. pylori. You can do that through Quest. We could do that through like a GI map test, something like that. I would also see what food triggers you have. I would also see how well you are digesting your food. Do you have enough hydrochloric acid? Do you have enough enzymes? Do you have enough support for your gallbladder to digest your food? Sometimes just a support can help with that. Joint pain too. I'd be looking at your labs and figure out, is there inflammation? Is your blood sugar high? Is your vitamin D really low? Like what's happening? So run an ANA screen. I would run a rheumatoid arthritis marker screen, rheumatoid factor, and maybe anti-CCP on you to just see. I'd probably get you off of some foods and just see how it makes you feel. What if you got off of gluten and dairy and soy and maybe eggs? What if you got off of that for like 2 weeks? And then just reintroduced all those one at a time? You might find, oh, every time I eat dairy, there goes my stomach pain. I get reflux, and then I get joint pain. I would not be surprised if that was the case. So maybe just a food elimination diet might not be a bad place to start. Okay, what else? So, okay. Someone can't eat fruit. Does it make you bloated? You might have like some SIBO or something like that. My thyroid goes from hypothyroidism to hyperthyroidism, always have a high pulse rate, 90s. Okay. You might have an autoimmune thyroid, right? Your immune system could be attacking your thyroid, and it's like it kind of goes low and then it releases a lot of thyroid hormone and then it can pop high. You can have this sort of cycling thyroid while it's kind of getting attacked. So what causes lupus? Well, there are some familial genetic type things. There's a chromosome that we know of that's a FOXP3 gene that's on the X chromosome that makes it that FOXP3 gene can slow down the immune system. So some people will have that genetic situation happening. So sometimes it can be familial. Sometimes it can be triggered by EBV, Epstein-Barr. I had a lot of triggers from COVID. Some people were triggered by the COVID vaccine. COVID vaccine tended to trigger a lot of rheumatoid arthritis, which was interesting. So yeah, there's a lot. It's hard to know exactly what's triggering it. It's different for everybody, right? Vitamin D helps everything. It's magic. So, and Laura, I'm excited for you to see the rheumatologist. Let us know what comes out of that and what they decide to do, and if they're going to put you on medication or not. If maybe they're going to run a different, deeper screen on you to see if there's any specific markers or tissue markers. That would be interesting. Oh, yes. So if someone was prescribed a medication for Graves' disease and it actually like calms your heart rate down and calms things down, calms the thyroid down. It's a really good, that's a great strategy. Easy. Yeah. How can you work with me? You can go to my bio and just click Linktree. And then there's like how to work with me. And then there's the autoimmune shift. If you want to pop into the autoimmune shift, right now I'm having, we're having meetings on Fridays at 11 Pacific, but I think I'm going to move it to Tuesdays at 4 because I feel like everybody needs to be able to work during the day. So I feel like I'm going to do it on a Tuesdays at 4 Pacific. So we get across the country, we can get everybody as they're kind of getting off of work. So that could be helpful. Or if you do want to do a one-to-one, you can just click on there and make an appointment with me. It's not hard. Come on over. Can I do replacement at 63? I have hot flashes. I had a complete hysterectomy at 40. That's a really good question. You know who I'd reach out to? I would reach out to MIDI Health, MIDI. I would get online with like one of their nurse practitioners or PAs. Sorry, I said that twice, or their PAs. And I would talk to them and say, can I do this? I don't know the answer to that, but that would be something that you should ask and find out. Really short, love it. I have a lot of autoimmune issues. I am 46 years old with Addison's disease. I also have malabsorption issues. What can I do to maintain the Addison's? So we want to get your immune system to calm down, right? We want to figure out why you're having malabsorption issues. Like, are you not being able to break down your food? Do you also have pernicious anemia? Do you not absorb B12? Do you have not enough hydrochloric acid in your stomach? Something's happening with your digestion if you have malabsorption issues. Do you also have celiac? I mean, these are questions. I don't know. But also, we got to get you off of gluten and dairy, probably. We got to get you on vitamin D. We got to get you on glutathione. I got to get you sleeping. How are your hormones? I mean, we got to calm the whole immune system down. So it's kind of like, I want to look at all your labs and see what they look like, and then just normalize all your labs and then figure out how to support you, but also give you ideas of other things that are triggering that you don't know what they are. Like I just did a video the other day on tuna fish in a can. Listen, the tuna in the can is legit like crazy. I didn't know this until last year, that they put raw tuna, right? And they put it in the can and they boil it. And then the aluminum from the can is getting into the tuna, and the BPA and the BPS and all that kind of stuff is soaking in the tuna. It's getting cooked in. It's like cooking in a plastic bowl in a microwave. Crazy. So can we get tuna in a jar or tuna in a pouch or a different way of getting tuna? Listen, there's things that trigger our immune systems that we don't even know. And that's why I put a lot of stuff in videos, because I'm like, these are things to think about. These are things that you're not thinking about, that I'm thinking about, that I want to tell you. And then we talk about it on Zoom. Okay. So lots of things to think about. Jordan, blood pressure swings, dizziness, mood changes, tachycardia, fatigue, GI issues, vision changes, and muscle tension. I wonder, do you have hives? Do you have Ehlers-Danlos hypermobility stuff? Do you get hives? I wonder if you even have hives in your gut lining. I wonder if you get food and you get high histamine, is what I wonder. If you're getting high histamine that's driving all these things. I just wonder. Seems a little bit like that. I do have positive ANA tube. They test for a bunch of autoimmune and nothing came up. Okay, so you have positive ANA that's early evolving kind of stuff. So this is what we want to do. We want to slow it down before it starts to really evolve, right? We want to like chill the heck out of that. Calm down your immune system and figure out what is driving it, right? I mean, sometimes people will be fine and then they get like the flu. And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose and their immune system is off to the races again. So what are immune system modulators to calm it down, right? How do we chill it out? I'll give you herbs that are from, it's a Th2 modulator by Pure Encapsulations. It's got some really interesting like pine bark and some resveratrol and some things that'll calm the immune system down. Pretty cool stuff that you can use post-virus. Lots of things to Yeah, lots of things to talk about. Oh, Laura, your vitamin D was high. Okay. So yeah, so we only need it to be like 70 to 100. I don't need it to be 140. Like that can get really dangerous. We don't need it to go crazy, but we do need the vitamin D to be normal, right? Like not 30, 40, 50. So good, Laura, you're on the right track. You are on the right track. Okay. So any help for chronic fatigue syndrome? Yes. Do we know how this came about? Chronic fatigue syndrome can be a lot. It's like so multifactorial. It's like, okay, did it come from COVID? Do you have iron anemia? Do you have low vitamin D? Do you have celiac? Do you have autoimmunity? Did you have a virus and you never got over it? Do you have bloating, leaky gut? Do you have SIBO, overgrowth? I mean, all of them can cause like a serious strain on your energy and chronic fatigue syndrome. So there's always help for chronic fatigue syndrome. Absolutely. Yes. We just have to figure out what you have and how to calm it down. So yes, of course. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. I have skin only dermatomyositis. Can I still go in the sun with sunscreen in? Try, right? It's going to be a trial and error. If you put sunscreen on and you don't have any reactions out in the sun, then amazing. But I know my daughter has markers for lupus and she gets the butterfly rash here and it gets really red right here. So this is why I do this program, is because she has early markers, 1 in 80, homogeneous, could go to lupus, but I don't want her to get lupus. She's 26. So it's like, get her on the right diet, get her on this glutathione, get her on vitamin D, make sure she's sleeping, make sure her stress level is normal, make sure that she's not exposed to plastics and toxic crap, try to eat organic as she can, eat protein at every meal. Like, listen, she's my guinea pig. And I've gotten her autoimmune, her ANA to go from 1 in 320 down to 1 in 80, and it's sitting there. We'll see if it keeps going down. But she doesn't have any symptoms now. She used to have a lot of symptoms, joint pain. She's had gluten issues since she was a baby. She had eczema. She was born with eczema. What a mess. Anyway, can tirzepatide cause a positive ANA? I've never heard of that. Now, I know that tirzepatide is calming down some autoimmune inflammation in the hands. I've seen for some rheumatoid arthritis, and some of my Hashimoto's patients that have joint pain, it's been really helpful for calming down inflammation. So then we know there's an inflammation mechanism here. So we want to do things like turmeric. We want to think about fish oils, the pro-resolving mediators maybe. We want to think about black cumin seed oil potentially. We want to think about all that stuff. There's a cool supplement for Hashimoto specifically called Thyroflam, FLM. It's by Apex Energetics, and it's for Hashimoto's. It's got selenium. It's got black seed oil. Man, how am I forgetting the other ones that are in there? There's like 3 or 4 different supplements in there. It calms down Hashimoto's inflammation in the thyroid. NAC is going to be in there because they want you to have more glutathione. You can get a little cream, a glutathione cream, and put on your thyroid and calm down the swelling if you have swelling in your thyroid. Lots of things. I had EBV a year before my daughter was born, 1979. She was diagnosed with SLE lupus at 21 years. Okay. So I don't know that that's your fault, though. She has to have the same genetics as you, sort of like this autoimmune predisposition. This is her immune system that she developed. I would say we can still work on calming this down for her, but I don't know that your EBV triggered your daughter's lupus. I'm not sure that I would reach that far. I don't know. I'd have to see studies on that. I'm just not sure. I'll bet she would have to get that. Anyway, just thoughts. I don't know. How do we settle down the hyperthyroidism symptoms? Okay. So you're on a thyroid, like the thyroid hormone blocker or something to calm down hyperthyroidism. I'd also put glutathione cream on your thyroid. If you want a link to that, it's called Oxycell by Apex. I can send you a link. Just tell me your email and I can send you a link. Yeah. And then this is a tricky one because we got to be on medication to calm this down, right? We really do. It's like, it's tricky. Let's see. Kathy Joe says negative ANA, sometimes positive, always positive dsDNA and SSA, muscle and joint pain. Yeah, you have autoimmunity, right? Even though the ANA goes negative, you still have these other markers that are positive. It's almost like you're playing with it a little bit, like you're at low levels. So we should really we got to work on these triggers potentially that are going to calm your immune system down. So we're going to call it autoimmunity. We're going to say, interesting, different markers. These things can shift around too. You can go positive, negative, right? You can change patterns, which I'd love you to go from a lupus pattern to a non-lupus pattern, right? Things like that, right? So I feel like always positive dsDNA and SSA. So we want to think about, we're just backing up doing big picture. What are your food triggers? Are you sleeping? Can we get your vitamin D on board? Let's get you on some glutathione. It's like habit stacking, right? We're stacking all this stuff together. And then you do one thing and you're like, oh my gosh, it changed everything. Amazing. Good. Don't ever not do that. Right. And then we keep going. Right. So it's all this is why I call it the autoimmune shift is my program. We want to shift your immune system small steps during the week and during the month and during the year until we go, look at that. We're getting better. We're getting better every month. Even if you have a flare up, you're still getting better. Right. Do you need levothyroxine if you have Hashimoto's? Not necessarily. Now, if you have Hashimoto's, your immune system is attacking your thyroid and it can lower your thyroid function, right? But what happens is that if you have your thyroid functioning lower and your T4 starts to get low, you got to get on levothyroxine. You just do. There's thyroid hormone receptors all throughout your entire body. You have to have that. So, but if you don't have low T4, you don't have to be on levothyroxine. You just have to kind of wait till that happens. This is why I like to get ahead of it so we can try to save your thyroid and not have it get destroyed. Sometimes we can, right? Really short. Okay, I had weight loss surgery, unfortunately. Okay, so that's why you have some vitamin malabsorptions. Got it. Okay, so you might need to do some, let's say you did a B complex squirt in your mouth. You know who's really good at this? Quicksilver. Quicksilver Scientific is really good at liquid products that dissolve in your mouth, that soak in your mouth. So they have a vitamin D3 with K2. They have a methylated B vitamins. They have a few different oral absorption things. So that might be better for you. Okay. Yes. Michelle, Marcia. Yes. I have heard GLP-1s reduce inflammation, and they do. They block IL-6, which is an inflammatory marker. So it's pretty significant. So yeah, I have a lot of my patients that are doing little microdoses because they want to calm their inflammation down faster and better than they can with, say, turmeric and fish oils and black seed oil and things like that. So pretty helpful. Yeah, new study showing microdosing GLP-1s and RA showing very positive outcomes. I am so for that. I'm 100% for it. I have a rheumatoid arthritis patient that literally I was running my head against a wall going, I cannot figure out how to calm this girl's hand inflammation down. It was driving me insane. And she's like, I'm just going to try a GLP-1. And within that same day, she's like, my hand pain is gone. And I'm like, this is insane. This is insane. Great. I don't care how we get there. I mean, I don't care if we braid in 2 different medications and 5 different supplements, and I don't care. I mean, in different food triggers, fix your leaky gut. I don't care how we get there. It doesn't matter. Amazing. I think it's amazing. And I'm super stoked about it. Okay. Really short says I'm hypocalcemic and I have hypotension. Okay. High doses of liquid calcium. Good. I wonder how else we could get calcium in you when you have malabsorption issues. I just wonder, you know what? I can always look at Quicksilver and see if they have some other ones for you, because it'd be nice to get that higher. Okay, how can you figure out what's causing anemia? I have no gallbladder, so I wonder if I have an absorption issue. Okay, so anemia. Are we talking about iron anemia? Are we talking about B12 anemia? I think we're talking about iron anemia, maybe. So we have to be able to break down when you let's say you eat some ground beef. Let's say you're eating tacos, and the ground beef goes into your stomach, and it has to get broken down with hydrochloric acid. So you have to have enough hydrochloric acid to break that down, right? If you have H. pylori, your stomach acid can be too low. If you have low T4, your stomach acid can be really low. Okay. So now the acid needs to rise to a certain level. And then that's the first domino to fall. Acid level, go. Then it triggers your pancreas. Now your pancreas releases insulin and enzymes, triggers. Then it triggers your gallbladder, triggers. And then your gallbladder squirts out bile and breaks down fat. So, but the hydrochloric acid has to be first. Okay. That's what breaks down the meats to be able to pull iron out of that. Now, if you have no gallbladder, then you might have a hard time digesting fats and fat-soluble vitamins. Now, the fat-soluble vitamins are A, D, E, and K. Those are the ones that really need your gallbladder. So if you need to, you could get, there's a cool supplement called Digestion GB that's by Pure Encapsulations that has like lipase and some enzymes for digesting fat, and it has bile salts that helps to emulsify fat. Super helpful for my patients that have just got their gallbladder out or they don't have a gallbladder. And I'll say, take that with a fatty meal and take your ADEK with it. And then they all absorb so nicely. So, but if you have with anemias, sometimes we can have something called anemia of chronic inflammation as well. So chronic inflammation can cause like almost like the red cells get a funny little, like they can't attach, the iron can't attach well to that red cell. So this depends on, do you have enough iron? Is it attaching to the red cells? Is it going into storage? Are you breaking it down from your food properly? There's a lot of things, but digestion has a big role in all of this. What test can I do for H. pylori? Okay, so you can go to Quest. Your doctor can send you with a Quest form that just says H. pylori, and they have you drink this sugary drink, and then you like wait for an hour. It's a pain in the butt, but anyway, you blow into this bag, and then they seal it off, and they go send it to the lab, and they test it for H. pylori. That's a thing. Or you can do a GI map test, which tells you what your microbiome looks like. It gives you like an idea of overgrowth of bad bacteria, good bacteria, all the different things. So that's something to think about. You can do that too. Okay. I recently started with URV path to help regulate my calcium. I was hospitalized due to severely low calcium. Yeah, this is it. We got to figure out how to get that calcium in there. I wonder if you can even do an IV that would have calcium in it. I wonder. New says my ANA is 1 in 2560. You are really, really crushing it as far as the high ANA, aren't you, New? So what are we doing about that? That's a very active, your immune system is very active. It's actively attacking you every day. That's an active number. So we want to think about what is driving that, right? Did it get started? Like, what was your root cause? Like, what triggered this? Like, where did this start, right? I mean, that's always a good question, because if it started with a viral attack from COVID or from Epstein-Barr, important for us to know, right? So yeah, and how do we calm it down? We just figure out all the things. We have to try to normalize your blood work and figure out what is driving this. Blood sugar can drive it. Low blood sugar and high blood sugar can drive it even, right? Does the bulge at a person's neck mean, oh, it's hyperthyroidism or hypothyroidism? Okay, so if you look at your neck, right? So your thyroid is right here. And oftentimes with Hashimoto's, or if it's swollen, you'll see like almost like a little like fat pad right here, where you'll see a line, like a crease, and like a line and like a crease, and this will be really puffy right here. And that usually shows Hashimoto's. Now it could be hyperthyroidism if it's swollen, right? So that's something, yeah, that can mean that there's a thyroid thing going on. There's some thyroid inflammation, right? Okay, ESR is 19. I think that's kind of borderline inflammation. I wonder if you could get a CRP or HSCRP. Okay, you need that link, please. Okay, Whitney, whatever link you need, can you just DM me here on TikTok and I'll send you whatever link you need for supplements or whatever. All I need is if you want supplements or labs or anything like that, then you just DM me and say, this is my name and this is my email, and I'll send it to you tonight. If you want to be in the autoimmune support group, the autoimmune shift, where you learn how to shift your immune system over time, then it's all in the link in my bio. So you just click in there, Linktree, and it goes autoimmune shift, and you just click in there, and you just, yeah, you can join us on Friday. That'd be great. Kathy Joe, only 1 and 180. So yeah, so probably 1 in 80. There's one in 80 and then 1 in 160 usually. 1 in 80 is kind of like, it's not crazy. It's positive, but it's not crazy, but it might be early evolving autoimmunity when it's lower, okay? But sometimes when you overlap symptoms on top of that, then we take it a whole lot more seriously. But I always take ANA positive seriously, always, because it can move into dangerous things and we want to slow it down no matter what, no matter how high it is. Okay, and so Lisa said, I've been diagnosed with lupus cerebritis after a brain biopsy and years of different diagnoses. Okay. So this is like brain inflammation, you know, it's like brain autoimmunity. So the immune system is attacking the brain. So it's like multiple sclerosis is where the brain, the immune system is attacking the nerve sheets. This one's more the brain. So what we want to think about is we want to figure out food triggers. I want to figure out if you have a leaky blood-brain barrier. Is the barrier sealed in your brain? There's a brain like seal. There's kind of like things shouldn't get in there and sometimes things get across that barrier because of a head injury or because of inflammation or something like that. So, and if you've had a brain biopsy, there's probably some, probably have a leaky blood-brain barrier. I would think about putting you on a short chain fatty acid called tributrin, and that has like butyrate, propionate, acetate. It's helpful in sealing the blood-brain barrier. I would also think about putting you strongly on a brain anti-inflammatory called Neuroflam. Neuroflam by Apex. It has all the flavonoids in it, the bioflavonoids, like with the vitamin C, rutin, apigenin, luteolin, all the things. And those can cross the blood-brain barrier and decrease the inflammation in your brain. So if you have brain autoimmunity, okay, we just need to not trigger it and try to calm it down. I'm not afraid of your lupus cerebritis. Cerebritis. That's a hard thing to say. It's just autoimmunity. So what do we do? How do we support that organ? How do we support your brain, right? How do we calm it down? So oftentimes there's a food trigger. I would say probably gluten, dairy, soy are our top three. Okay. Sometimes it's spinach, which is weird. So yeah, things to think about. I'm happy to kind of talk to you if you want to talk about that. GLP-1 fixed my hands immediately. I'm telling you, that GLP-1 can be magic, right? What blood markers can I follow if ANA is high? So what I like to do is I like to run a lot of blood markers. This is why I run like a little $200 test. If you want hormones on it, it costs about $250. Sometimes I run this, sometimes I don't. It's about $200 to run all the things: inflammation, lipids, CBC, complex metabolic, iron, ANA, Hashimoto's, all the thyroid markers, all of it for like $200. So you could run something like that and then see how am I, right? And how's my vitamin D and how's my inflammation and all the things. And it gives you a bigger picture than just running after like say one marker, right? I have Graves and it's been awful. 92 hospital admissions and they don't do anything. Oh my goodness. Did they take part of your thyroid out? Have they done radioactive iodine, anything? I mean, if it's that crazy, I'd almost have it taken out and then get on thyroid hormones and just like stop, because it's releasing so much that you are feeling terrible. That's what I would do. But I'm also not your doctor. So I'm just giving you ideas on the internet, right? Like I'm just TikTok giving thoughts and ideas. So take all of my advice with a grain of salt, but I'm just going to be a little bossy if I can. But feel free to tell me to go take a hike if you don't like it. Because, I don't know. I'm not for everybody. But I want to make sure that you guys get real info, right? Like really go do something. We got to figure this out, because being hospitalized that many times for Graves, that's crazy. We got to do something different. Lisa, so my vision and balance are greatly affected. I'm on a GLP-1 currently as well. Good. Okay. There's a really cool test through Cyrex that you can look at all the different autoimmune tissues of your body, all the antibodies. It'd be interesting to do the brain autoimmune marker test on you, see exactly what in your brain you have autoimmunity toward. There's a really cool immunologist that works for that company. Be interesting to talk to him and say, what do you think? What different foods should we be making sure we're off of? Because I think there's some brain autoimmunity and MS tend to be gluten, dairy, but they also tend to be corn and spinach and soy. Those are big triggers for brain autoimmunity. So you might want to take those out of your diet and just see if it helps at all, right? You take stuff out, put stuff in. If it makes you feel better or worse, that's our answer, right? We want to figure out what drives things, right? What makes it worse? What makes it better? It's diagnostic for you, okay? Can caffeine in coffee and green tea cause joint pain issues or flare-ups? Especially green tea, yes. Green tea, it drives some people's immune system. It's a Th1 response and it drives the immune system to attack a little bit more. So sure, absolutely. So especially if it's for you, if that's happening to you, we got to calm that down. Okay, I'm going to take a few more questions, then I got to go have dinner. Is there a connection between Sjogren's and unexplained chronic weight loss for more than a year? I don't know the connection there. I can't quite put a connection there. I mean, Sjogren's is kind of like dry mouth, dry eyes, joint pain, fatigue, but weight loss, I don't know. I'm not sure. I would type that into Claude. or chat and say, is there a correlation there? There might be something that I don't know about. Okay, and really short says I receive IV calcium every time I'm admitted to the hospital. I've been admitted 7 times in 2025. Okay, I wonder if there's a place around if you could go get an IV on a regular basis with all your minerals in there. And I'm also treated with thyroid cancer. Is it all linked? I don't know. You guys are stumping me tonight on a couple of these questions. I don't know if that, if like having gastric bypass, having malabsorption, getting thyroid cancer, maybe. I mean, not being able to absorb enough foods that are antioxidants to kind of protect your thyroid, maybe. Yeah. Tammy says, I have all the symptoms of lupus, but blood work comes back normal. Do you have a positive ANA? Do you have any kind of autoimmunity? Lucas says, I was just told today that I have Sjogren's. Okay, welcome. You have an autoimmune condition. Let's figure out what we're doing, right? So we want to make sure that we got to figure out your food triggers. We got to get you on vitamin D. I got to get you on glutathione. We got to get you on protein at all your meals. I need you to eat a lot of veggies because I want to help you improve your microbiome, okay? That's an immune system modulator too. Your blood sugar needs to be steady. I have a ton of videos if you want to come watch them. Come join me. My autoimmune shift, it's like a journey of discovery. And then you pop into these Zooms and you're like, oh my God, it's this. And then you know things, right? You know a lot of things that other people don't know. And these are all things that are white paper studied things, but your medical doctor doesn't have enough time to give you all this coaching. They just don't, right? This is my little specialty. So are you aware of a liquid steroid to control the Addisons? I'm not sure if it would control Addisons, but it would give you enough energy because if you have Addisons, you're losing your function on producing cortisol. So you might need to take an external cortisol. That's what I'm saying. That might be helpful for your energy. Tammy says, I have lupus rash on my face and arms and blood work is normal. I'm with you. I'm suspicious. Here's what I would do, Tammy. I would do a test called an AVISE test, AVISE. You can do it for a couple $100. I'd have to get my admin at my office to run it for you, but it's a great test and it runs all the different autoimmune markers, like all of them. And so it finds things when you often can't find things, right? So now, I mean, because that's something's there, right? We got to pay attention to your body. Must have lip biopsy to confirm. Yeah, that's no fun. Having a little bit lip biopsy to tell you have Sjogren's. Yeah, for sure. How do you fix muscle loss? And I think not quite Wednesday. I don't know. Positive ANA, negative markers, Dutch test done. Okay, muscle loss. We want to think. Weakness. Okay, muscle weakness. Okay, I want you to be eating protein like it's your job. I want you to eat 35 grams of protein with every single meal, 100 grams of protein a day. And I need you to make sure that you hit that because protein is our number one thing. I need you to do some exercise, some resistance, but I need you to make sure you're actually digesting your protein. And when you look at your protein in your blood work, I need it to be above 7. If it's in the 6s, you're not digesting it well enough. So we got to get muscle. We got to get lots and lots of protein for muscle density. And also you might want to think about, I'm not sure how old you are, but hormone replacement, more estrogen, more testosterone. Yeah, that's what I would do. I just did a talk on YouTube that was about osteoporosis and osteopenia. If you guys want to listen to that, I'm putting a lot of long form talks on YouTube because I just have so much more to say than just a minute or so on TikTok. I mean, doing lots of videos, but I'm trying to be fast. My daughter's like, you got to be faster. I'm like, oh my God, I can't. Okay, someone has hemochromatosis. Hold on. I have hemochromatosis, 2 mutations, rare that it can attack the thyroid. So, okay. Hemochromatosis is just too much iron. You absorb iron like crazy. So you're going to have to donate iron on the regular. And you don't have to go pay to do a therapeutic donation. Just go to a place to donate donate blood on a regular basis, okay? Because you need to get that. My husband has hemochromatosis, so I know about that very well. So donate blood, sorry. And if you have high iron, it can cause a lot of problems. It can cause a lot of inflammation. It can drive heart disease. It can drive strokes. Iron, when we have too much iron, it's inflammatory. So that's important to know, okay? I got diagnosed with Hashimoto's, but I keep losing weight. Okay, so yeah, we want to make sure that When you have Hashimoto's, remember your T4 can run low and your stomach acid can run low, and then you're not digesting your food properly, or you're not breaking it down well and you're not absorbing it. So you might be losing weight that way. And I want to make sure that your T4 and T3, I want your T4 free to be above 1, between like 1 and 1.5. And I want your T3 free to be above 3. And I find that most of my patients feel better with their TSH being around under 3, 2, 1, 2, something like that. Okay. All right. So more specifically, Sjogren's and dysfunction causing dysautonomia. Yes. Dysautonomia is a big deal, and it's really a pain, right? It's such a drag. You know, the heart can race and the blood pressure can get off and all that kind of stuff. And it can be, I see a lot of it post-COVID, a lot of post-long COVID can cause that. It's caused a lot of brain inflammation, especially the brain stem, where it regulates the heart rate and it regulates blood pressure, and it can be brain inflammation. So we can get to the bottom of that too. Can H. pylori confirm if stomach has inflammation, or do I have to do an endoscopy? Well, do you have stomach pain? Sometimes you can just feel it, right? You're like, oh, let me drink some lemonade. How does that feel on my stomach? Feels like it's painful. Might be just gastritis generally. I mean, I'm not sure that we really need to do an endoscopy. We could start treating, unless you feel like you might have like a stomach cancer or something. We want to rule that out. Endoscopies are great. Sometimes it just says red and inflamed, right? Then we can do some repair things like repair vite, like glutamine and aloe vera and marshmallow root and slippery elm and zinc carnosine, super helpful. Okay. Muscle loss and pain, positive ANA, negative markers, dense fine. Oh, fine speckled. Okay. So it might be dense fine speckled, usually doesn't go toward an autoimmune thing. Fine speckled, I'd have to look that one up again, because I don't know if that's also dense fine speckled. I'm not sure. So, but I say really, really crank on your protein. Do it like it's your job. Eat protein all the time. Like, I want you to be like part carnivore girl. Okay. Okay. So why have I had head tremors when my back isn't supported, please? Okay. So head tremors, is it kind of just a little head tremor like this? It could be some cerebellar issues happening in your brain. It could be an essential tremor. Could be something. Does anybody in your family have this? Sometimes essential tremor can be in the hand, and sometimes it can be in the head. Sometimes it can be in the body. It's kind of like, Katharine Hepburn had that. She had that little, like that voice that was like, and then the head kind of trembled a little bit. This can be something that is just comes in families, and it's part of your genetics. Okay. So I would do a lot of core work. I would do planks. I would do sit-ups. I would do balance work. I would do stand on a line. I would do coordinated movements like figure eights. I do a lot of brain work with people. I do a lot of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and cognitive decline as well. So I'm really kind of keyed in on this sort of brain thing. So do some fish oils. Make sure your inflammation is down. Eat the protein. Keep your blood sugar steady. You might notice that when you're tired, it comes on more often. So okay. C-reactive protein, good number on blood work. C-reactive protein, I want it to be under 1. It's kind of perfect. But if it's above 1, it's a little high. So yeah, HS-CRP is the one I like the best. High sensitivity CRP is my favorite one. Any advice for MTHFR mutations? I have both variants. Okay, right. So you're going to need to be on methylated Bs, methylated B complex. You could do methylated B12 injections and folate and things like that, but you don't absorb things that well. My husband has that as well. He's a hot mess. Hemochromatosis and MTHFR, it's a mess. So yeah, you can I get on a methylated B vitamin. It should work. And if that doesn't work, if you don't absorb it well, you can get a Quicksilver one that's a liquid one that can soak underneath your tongue. That's a methyl, they call it methyl B. Happy to send you a link. If you want a link for any of these supplements, you guys come join. If you are in my autoimmune shift group, everybody gets 20% off. So that's easy. If you just want a link, I'm just going to send you a link. But if you want discounts, come over. It's just, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. This is what we're doing in my group, is we're changing lives. It's so awesome. And people are getting better. Yes, essential tremor in my hands always, but now it's in my head. Got it. So you want to make sure you're doing like doing some balance work. You're doing like, I would be like stand on one leg, and I would do like figure eights with your hands. I would do cerebellar training exercises. Look it up on YouTube. How do I improve my cerebellum? This is a cerebellum problem when you get an essential tremor or you get a head tremor. It's coming from your cerebellum. So you want to do cerebellum exercises, okay? Coordination, balance, core strength. Okay, guys, I probably need to pop up and go to dinner, but Shelly says, my CRP is less than 3. How do I help her or get her down? Okay, so we want to figure out why you have it. Is it going up because your blood sugar's up? Do you have inflammation someplace? Is your gut inflamed? And then also, you can get on a fish oil. Is great for reducing CRP. Great. Turmeric is helpful, but fish oil is where I'd go first. And a lot of fatigue in mornings, pain in the bones, sometimes weeks. So tomorrow we'll be doing ANA. Good. Yes, let's check this out. And I took cyanocobalamin injection. It made me very sick. Okay, right. Yeah, I would do methylated B12. Okay. Yeah, also no adrenal function or hormones per Dutch test. Okay, I would probably do a blood test on you and see. Dutch is sometimes tricky. Sometimes it captures stuff beautifully and sometimes it doesn't. And I'm like, is this real? Should we be, I don't know. I mean, I like the Dutch test, but I'm also like, sometimes it's a little equivocal for me and I'm sometimes get weird readings out of it. So then I just want to run blood work, so let's do that. Let's figure that out at some point. Okay, what's the best fish oil? I really, if you're going to go to the store, I'd get Nordic Naturals. They have a great filtration process. It's super clean. A lot of the professional brands have really good ones. Designs for Health has a good one. Metagenics has a good one. Apex has a good one. There's a lot of, if you want to send, Orthomolecular has a good one. Great brands. Zymogen has a good one. I could go forever. But Nordic Naturals is something that's over the counter. You can get at any health food store. And they have a patented cleaning process to make sure there's no heavy metals, and I trust them. So get on that one. Okay. So, hey guys, I'm going to probably hop off, but if you want some support, if you want to be in my group, I would love to have you. It's my autoimmune shift group. A link is in my bio. Pop over. There's a link in there for essential labs. If you want know what the labs that you should get done. If you want a link for labs because you want to do inexpensive $200 labs, just let me know. Just send me a message on TikTok that just says, hey, I want this, right? And I'm happy to give that to you. So there's no gatekeeping all this stuff. It's just easy. It should be pretty easy for you to get. Happy to open up the door for you guys. If you guys want support, I can work with you one-to-one. I can take, look at your labs. We can book a 30-minute consultation. I can just go over them with you and tell you what I think, give you some guidance, give you a place to start. Super happy to help. I'm going to try to pop back in on a live on Friday. I have patients all the way till 6, I think, on Wednesday and Thursday. So I'll probably pop it on Friday around 4-ish, 5-ish Pacific. If you want to join my autoimmune support group, we're going to move it to Tuesdays at 4 p.m. If that's helpful, Pacific. If that's helpful time for you guys to meet. But I also record the Zooms. So if you want to see those too, if you can't always join, it's fine. So pop over. I'd love to have you guys. I'm glad you guys all popped in. Thanks for spending the evening with me. And I'm in Los Gatos, California, but I do Zooms. So just message me. This is all on Zoom. All the autoimmune shift stuff is all on Zoom. I have people from all over the country. I've got some people from Alabama and Connecticut and all over the place. So join us. It's super fun. And you'll start feeling like supported and you're going to feel a lot less nervous about your autoimmune conditions because there's solutions for all of this. Okay. Happy to support you. Okay. All right, you guys. So glad to see you. I'll see you so soon. Okay.